Welcome back, you beautiful people, to the Real Collective podcast. I am Sean Tasse, joined by my illustrious co-host, Kyle Miller. Kyle, coming to you live from the beautiful Niagara Falls, going to watch the eclipse. That's what you're there for, right?
Yeah, no, we got here a little bit late. That one went past. Still see the signs, and I'm pretty sure we're still on Eclipse hotel pricing.
Whew.
But other than that, it's
Oh,
fine.
well, that's all right. Hey, you know what? You got to do. You got to do what you got to do. You're doing the right thing for your family and giving them the chance to go and compete and have fun and do all that fun stuff. So, as always, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this with someone you think might like this. You can download the buyer or seller guides below, book an appointment with Kyle or I in our Calendly links below, and you can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or you can watch our faces on YouTube. So we had a couple things happening in the mortgage world, a couple things happening in the real estate investment world. So we'll talk about a few of those things, and then in the second half, I think we're finding a rhythm with story time. So I've got a couple stories to tell in the second half about some showings, some negotiations, and stuff like that. So let's get into the fun stuff. The mortgage rate announcement happened, and the Bank of Canada for a third straight time did nothing.
Nothing. Womp womp womp.
Yeah,
That was
right.
it. That was pretty much what it was. Yeah. I think they didn't do anything. They're saying that it's working, and that's fine to get where they want to go. But nothing changing. Again, though, we every single time we end up having a recording after the announcement. That I get people who ask, a lot of agents, but people who ask just like, okay, so when can we expect a drop? The bank didn't change the rates, and I have to reiterate with people, they only handle one rate, which is the prime rate.
Right.
Everything else is done based on essentially the bond market, not essentially the bond market, which has ties to the stock market and how everything goes. So what was interesting yesterday was the fact that they made no change to the rate, which is fine. And then right after that, because I don't know if they must time this, but it can't be coincidence. I just don't follow the U.S. announcements.
Yes.
But the U.S. came out and something wasn't. I think inflation was up or unemployment was down or something like that. And then our bond market started to spike, which means fixed rates are actually going to start heading back up. The key time for everybody being people who are watching this and people that have mortgages, is now. It's leading up to this to the meeting and the announcement, not when the announcement happens. It's everything leading up to there. So people who have been waiting and saying, okay, well, I'll wait for that announcement and then I'll go see about rates. You've already missed the boat.
Yeah.
You already missed the boat. So we're going to see most of the fixed rates get up over 5% by next week. We've had a couple sitting in the 4s. They're probably going to all be up over 5 by next week unless people start holding on. And it's Friday here, so that means that at 3:30 we're going to start getting all the emails saying, "Hey, we're bumping them tonight at midnight." So I'll be spending time getting deals sent in and pre-approvals done over the next 6 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And you know what? If you're closing in the next 2 months, it's almost like, when's the next announcement? Is there one in May, or do they skip May and do June?
No, they.
I think they might skip.
I have it in my head is June. I think they do June, skip the summer, and we'll see in September. So it should be. I believe it's June 7th. I have to check, but
I think that sounds right. So, I wonder if you're closing in June, if you just wait, like if you bought something now, you want to close after if you're trying to get a fixed rate, you almost want to get it locked in before the rate announcement, by the sound of things, not after.
Well, you've got a fixed. If you've got an approval, and you're on fixed, you've got a rate right now.
Right.
The question now is hounding your broker, not hounding, but hounding your broker and making sure the finance person is on the ball, watching what happens to see if you can get that knocked down over the next few months as things go. Because Now it's again, even though they're up today, Joe Biden falls down awkwardly tomorrow for no reason, and it could go completely the other way, right? So,
is it an American election year as well this year? I think it is 2024.
they're definitely campaigning like it is. I never remember if it's 24, if it's November of 24 or November of 25, because
Yeah.
their election cycle, unlike ours that lasts about 4.5 minutes, theirs lasts, 18 months,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah. So yeah, who knows if it's this year or next year? Someone does. If you do know, pop it down in the comments and fill us in. Yeah, so yeah, that's the impact of rates, but there were a few other changes that they announced. One of which was the removing the red tape from Bill C20 from Bill 23. I don't know why I always want to call it C23. Removing red tape from Bill 23. That's literally what the thing is that they called it, removing red tape from Bill 23, from the More Homes Built Faster bill. Okay,
perfect.
that's the name of the legislation, 2024, removing red tape from More Homes Built Faster. Okay, cool. So what does it mean? Nothing. It's posturing, right? It's all like, hey, we're gonna make it easier for you. How? Oh, we're just gonna tell the municipalities that they can do what they want to do. Okay, cool. It, I hope it works. They have in mind to build 1.5 million houses by 2031. So what's that? 7 years?
That's insane math.
Yeah, man. Do that math.
Have they done that math?
Well, I mean that's 200. Is that 200 million houses per year for the next 7 years?
200,000 houses.
200,000. Yeah. Sorry, you're right. 200,000 houses per year. Now, one of the things that they're doing about this red tape thing is saying, oh, well, student housing is part of that. So we can count student housing in that.
So okay, so just right there. This is the problem I always have. Intentions are great. Execution is what wins everything, right?
Yeah.
I intended to be taller and make the NHL. My execution on that has been lacking. Okay. So
you haven't been hanging upside down like a bat at night to sleep?
you don't know what I do at home. But anyway, that's a different story. So, but the thing is that it's like, so if we just focus on student housing, okay, there are so few lenders that do student style housing financing.
Yeah.
So few.
Yeah.
That it's like the left hand doesn't talk to the right.
Yes.
The government comes out and says we're going to do this, but doesn't talk to anybody involved in the system set up to provide that, to know that there's very few that do it. So, and the banks are going to sit there and go, do we even want to get involved with this? Because they don't have to. Just because the government says they're going to do it doesn't mean the bank has to, because the bank's the one stuck holding the bag. So unless there's more incentives put out, and quite honestly through CMHC, to say we will support this type only, I think you're gonna have very slow and very weak adoption on things like that. Right? They make money. They have to see it make money, and they also have to see it make money while they're fully protected.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing.
So
They're only going to, like, the provincial government's going to the municipality saying, hey, do this thing. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can have this thing. But you're right. It's like, how can the banks lend money? Is the provincial government telling the banks how to operate? No, they don't have the right to do that. The banks are governed federally, right?
And we've talked about this before too. Yeah, so there's 2 points there, which is very, very good, by the way, is the fact that, for student housing, for example, one of the places you'll get the more love for that are credit unions, because they're provincially run, not federally run. Yeah. So does that mean they don't exist? No, but there's not that many that do them. Yeah. Right. So so that's the thing. And again, this is similar to the cities changing their policies, for example, say Ottawa, with coach houses, right? Hey, great idea in theory.
Yes.
Banks don't see coach houses as adding any value.
Yes. Yeah.
So there was no discussion on how that was supposed to work or incentive for the banks to accept that. So again, the key will be in the execution to see what happens, and that'll be interesting to watch.
Well, you know what? The only people who are going to be able to do it are people who are just sitting on a pile of money, which is not a lot of people these days. So maybe, you know, the rich get richer, as tends to happen. Now there were some there were some other regulations that came down the pipe when they did this announcement. What else do we have?
Big thing that'll be rolling across everybody's social media feed right now is the fact that Feds came out and said that they're going to allow 30-year amortization for first-time buyers. Some bits and pieces that I've seen is, so the breakdown of that is 30%. You're allowed to go to 30-year am. So minimum down payment, 30-year am. Haven't seen that in about 12 years, which is cool.
Big deal.
Problem is it's only for new builds, so it's not on resale homes, which, okay.
Well, hang on. That goes to the idea of supporting building more homes.
True. So that's the good part of that, for sure, is that they're incentivizing building new homes because that's it.
Yeah.
However, if you jump from 25 to 30-year am, you're gaining 5% ish on your 5% on your purchase power. So is that a lot? No. Is it enough? Probably for some people. It will, though, definitely benefit the big six banks.
Hang on.
For sure.
When you say, yeah, because the big six banks are the ones who are sitting at the sales center with the salespeople, right? The guy from the green guys or the blue guys or whatever, they're all sitting right there and saying, oh yeah, I'll put this together. I'll lock your rate in for the next year and a half or whatever it is, right? So 5% average price of an entry level new build home is 600,000, let's say, for a townhouse. Okay, so 5% means that your buying power goes up by $30,000. So instead of a $570,000 house, you can buy it for 600 now, because you can go 30 years in terms of your monthly payment. That's what it's about. Okay, but you can also pull more money now out of your RSPs as well, correct?
Yeah, they bumped that up to 60 grand, and they gave you a grace, and they're giving you a grace period of 5 years, not just 2 years, to start paying it back, which is cool. Yeah. Again, it's one of those things where intent is great. How many first-time buyers have $60,000 sitting in RSPs? I don't know. Not a lot, but some for sure. Yeah. And so that'll be that's something. I mean, they're trying something. I also don't think they're going to the people with boots on the ground to say what we see, because I honestly don't think they know the math behind how this stuff works. I will say that until someone proves me wrong. They don't see how GDS TDS work and what impact things have to have.
Yeah, like the math of it still doesn't make sense. I was looking at a property with another client. I'm like, okay, here's what you can buy. You can pay up to $500,000 when you factor in your mortgage payment with 5% down, even with 20% down, right? Factor in your mortgage payment, your property taxes, your utilities, versus buying it to rent it out. You will lose money if you're buying it to rent it out. Okay, well, can I go and rent a similar place? Yes. How much does it cost? $700 less per month. Until it gets to a point where it costs the same to buy as it costs to rent, people are not going to be motivated to buy, sadly.
Yeah, and the interest, and from an interest rate standpoint, the drop has to be exponential.
Yeah,
it's not 5 points, 10 points, guys. It does nothing. I was doing math for a client yesterday. I had a 40 basis point swing between a 25-year am and a 30-year am and whatever they were doing, and it still was, relatively speaking, negligible.
Yeah.
So we're talking 1.5%, 2% rate drops for people to feel that $700,
and it's not going to happen.
Not quickly.
So even if it does, sorry, we won't get 2%. We might get 1.25% over the next 18 months, but we're not getting 2%.
And again, it depends on what you're talking about, right? If we're talking about, because everybody in their head goes to fixed.
Right.
So what has to happen in the world for us to get from 5.2 to 4.2, right? Or to 3.8?
A lot of bad stuff.
A lot of bad stuff. You may not even it may not even bother you at that point because you're looking for a job. Because that's the key. And what sucks is the fact that we need some blood in the streets for this to work.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's terrible, but that's the truth.
Well, Doom and Gloom podcast. Hope you enjoy the first half.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go get a whiskey from the minibar. I'll be back in a minute.
Listen, we got some great stories to hit you with in the second half. Some fun, frivolous, exciting things. So stick around after a quick word from our sponsor, Real Collective Marketing. As always, you can like, subscribe, share this with someone who you like or don't like if you want to send them the first half. Download the buyer seller guides below. Schedule an appointment with Kyle or I in the Calendly links. We'll catch you on the flip side. This episode of the Real Collective podcast is brought to you by Real Collective Marketing, the marketing agency that specializes in the unique needs and budgets of small to medium-sized businesses. We provide turnkey marketing solutions that get results. We become an extension of your team and act as your virtual marketing department, designing and implementing cost-effective strategies that will help grow your business. You can find out more today at www.realcollectivemarketing.ca. Now, here's your hosts, Sean and Kyle. Welcome back, you beautiful people, to the Real Collective Podcast. Sean, Tasse, Kyle Miller coming at you through the internet. Did you know that when it snows, we almost have 2,000 views on one of these shorts? So some people are liking what we're talking about, which is wonderful. As always, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this with someone who you think might be interested in this conversation. And Kyle, you have some stories to kick us off with. What do you got?
Oh yeah, just interesting thing that happened this week. I had 3 people reach out to me, and what it was, interestingly enough, these 3 people are all dealing with private lenders, and there's more to a private lending deal that needs to be explained to people. I'm not going to do it because it's individual, but everything has to be disclosed. You can't really sneak anything in. But from the buyer side, I have to tell people more. If you don't understand, either don't sign it or read it more or ask for another explanation. There's nothing that mortgages can be complicated. And there's fees in private deals, you're paying for things that on a regular mortgage you don't pay for, right? Other end legals, an admin fee, rah. That's where they make a lot of their money, is certain fees. They're all legal, they're all legit, but you need to know what you're signing. 3 phone calls from 3 different people, and I didn't do these mortgages, who are like, hey, can you tell me what this is? And I'm like, well, I don't know, send me the mortgage details. Because they're like, I don't understand why I'm getting charged this or was charged this. I'm like, but you signed it. They're like, oh, I didn't even know. One lady had a second mortgage. They did a private mortgage, and the private did a blanket. So they said, we're going to give you money on lot A, on property A, but we're going to blanket property B just as extra security. Yeah. And her exact words were, can you believe that someone put they did a blanket and put a second mortgage on my property? I'm like, yes, I can, because it said it on the first page and you signed it. It's right there in the very 3rd line. It's right there. So yes, I can believe that. I get, and I'm not trying to be rude. But what I'm saying is you have to read. And if you don't understand, ask. This shit is complicated sometimes. And it's our job to make it not complicated. Even if it's just, yes, that is what's happening. Right? And you don't have to move ahead with it. You can say, I don't want to do this. Okay. Then we can change something potentially. Like, I was a little taken aback by it. How many, to have it happen 3 times in a week. Yeah. I'm like, wow. So read your stuff. Take your time, read your stuff, ask your lawyer, ask your broker, ask. If someone gives you shit for asking, they're a bad broker. That's what I'm going to say.
I like that. I like that hot take.
They're bad.
I've done some blanket mortgages, and I remember on one of them, when they discharged the mortgage, because I sold like a blanket mortgage my house, bought a house, flipped it, discharged the mortgage, but it didn't come when the lawyer processed it, it didn't come off my house. So when I went to go and do it again, they're like, "Oh, you still have a mortgage on your house." I'm like, no, I've got my one mortgage. That's it. So, anyways, they had to go back and fix the mistake. So, yeah.
Just quickly, I was doing a mortgage for my parents' place, and we found 4
Woo.
mortgages. Two of them were from the 80s. We didn't move there till 2000.
Oh,
Two of them
wow.
were from the 80s. So either the bank or the lawyers along the way were like, this will get fixed. And it never did. And like they were on the phone with the Toronto, like lawyers on the phone with Toronto, and they went to the archives and pulled like paper. And we're like, okay, this one's done, and tore it up. Oh yeah. So yeah, check your stuff out.
That's impressive. So I've got a story that was asked for on a social post because one of the members on the team, Rose, made a post about, oh, this happened, and then I said, oh, that actually happened to me. And so someone's like, wow, tell me the story. And I didn't get a chance to tell the story, so I figured I'd do it on the podcast here. So story goes like this. Someone who I didn't know, never met before, shows up and says, hey, I want to buy this house. It's on Richer Street in Orleans. I said, cool, I'll show you the house. I go on MLS, I look for houses that are listed on Richer Street in Orleans, and I find it. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is the one you want to see. You said you wanted to see this address. This one is like one number different, so I'm sure it's the same house. So I go, walk in, show the house. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Who is this house for? It's for me. Blah, blah, blah. How did you find me anyways? Oh, I found you on the internet. It said you were the agent selling this house. I'm like, it's not my listing. It's a listing in our brokerage. So I'm sure that that's what the connection was about. Okay. Go show the house. Yeah, you know what, Sean? I don't think this is the house we're trying to buy. What do you mean? Like, it's not the one that we saw posted on the internet. The one we saw posted on the internet is the house right across the street. Remember, we asked you for the address. It was like 124, and you're showing us 123. Oh, okay. There's no for sale sign in the front lawn. There's nothing on MLS about it. It looks like incognito. But you know what? There's a lockbox there. Why don't I just walk across the street, knock on the door, see if we can find out. Knock on the door. Tenant answers. Hey, what's the deal here? Is this house for sale? Why is there a lockbox? Oh, yeah, I'm the tenant. I'm actually the niece of the owner, and I'm moving out in 2 days. My house is full of moving stuff. Got stuff all over the place. I said, just on an off chance, these people wanted to see this house, and it's not on MLS, it's not on the market. It was canceled yesterday. The sign was removed yesterday, and the tenant was moving out. So they said, hey, let's move the tenant out. We'll get it ready after the fact. So I said to the tenant, hey, you know what? These are really nice people. They just want to see this house. Can we do it? Yeah, sure. Just don't mind the mess. Moving tenant occupied properties are not always, typically don't show well. When someone's moving out, also does not show well. We walk in, walk through. Oh yeah, Sean, this is the one for us. I'm like, there's a problem here. There's a problem here. There's a problem here. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this. This is a problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. Don't worry, I'll fix it all. I like the size of the house. I like how big it is. I like the fact that it has 2 en suites. I like the fact that it's beat up because then I can go and fix it up over time. Okay. Reach out to the agent who has the listing canceled. Hey, here's what happened. Why did the tenant let you in? Blah, 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 blah. Mad at you. Hey, man, I'm going to bring you an offer. So are you cool with that? Oh, yeah, okay. I don't hate you anymore. All right, cool. Tenant let us in. Super nice, super kind. Sent them an offer. It was like, I don't know. This is back in the day. So at the time, it was listed for like 360. We brought them an offer for like 350 or something like
Those
that.
were the days.
Right. And it was like a 4-bedroom, 2 ensuite house, just in bad shape, but in a neighborhood that was really interesting for these people. So, anyways, bring them an offer, negotiate the deal, go through. I don't even know if we did. I think we didn't even do an inspection after the fact. Like, it was just like, yep, okay, here we go. Financing was tricky. They had to get a first and a second to be able to close on it, but they were able to put it together. Except for, this is the other part of the story. When it was time to close, they didn't realize that there was a fee on the second. And you know how much the fee was on the second? Again, didn't read the contract.
5%.
Well, it was about 2.5. And can you guess what my commission was?
2.5.
So the conversation was, hey man, Sean, thanks very much for your help with all of this, but we can't close on the house because we don't have the extra 2.5 unless you forego your commission.
Wow.
So this is random people. I never met these people in my life. I met them at the house across the street, got it wrong, showed them this other random house across the street. What do? Either they you don't give them your commission and they don't close on the house, or and then you get zero, or you do give them their commission and they do close on the house and you get zero. What do you do when you're me?
Oh, that's I. Are you asking or is this rhetorical?
Well, I already did it, so you can tell me what you do if you're
Yeah,
me.
I know what you did. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're hoping you've got a client for life there.
So I'll tell you this. What I did is I put I didn't put a third. I put a prom note associated to the property. I said, hey, here's how you're going to repay this amount over the next whatever. You're going to repay me, and it's attached to the property. So they've never moved. They've lived there the whole time. They haven't repaid me the full amount. There's still like a $7,000 amount outstanding. But I think in the last, I'm going to say 7 years or so, 7 or 8 years since this happened, I think that they've referred to me, I'm going to say at least 10 pieces of business.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So, that's my story about showing the house across the street incorrectly to random strangers who I'd never met before and created a lifelong client out of.
I'll use a Gary Vee quote, which is, it's always the right thing to do the right thing.
Yes. Yeah. It
That's
hurt.
it.
I'll tell you, it hurt because that was
Yeah.
early in my career, and I was like, I need this, whatever it was, 7-8 grand, because I'm counting on it, right? Counting on the closing. That was tough, especially early on in your career. So that is one story from a long time ago. I'll share this back with whoever was asking the question about tell us the story. The other story that I have is the very, very, very first showing. It wasn't even a showing. I didn't have a client. It was a preview. So when brand new agents get licensed, when I got licensed, I joined a team, and the team had a bunch of listings, a bunch of active listings. And I said, hey, Sean, go and check out our active listings, preview them, walk through them, get a sense of what it is, so that when you get a phone call about it, a sign call, you know what it is that you're pitching to these people. Okay. So I, took an afternoon and went and previewed the 10 listings that the team had or whatever it was. And one of them, I walked in and walked through the whole house. I always like to go in the main floor and then start in the basement to see if I can find any problems. And I finish on the top floor, right? So I walked through the main floor. No one's there. Okay, it's kind of weird. Like, it looks vacant, but it's just middle of the day too, right? So like, they're gone. So I'm all right, cool, whatever. Walk down to the basement. It looks like there's like a different tenant living there. It looks almost like a rooming house sort of thing, right? Like a bunch of sort of young kids. Walk to the basement. Someone looks like they just got out of the shower and didn't turn the fan on, so it's like really like misty and like heat holding down in the basement. Okay, whatever.
This story writes itself.
So I walk back to the main floor, look around. It's like a ghost town in there, and then I walk upstairs to the second floor, look through the master, it was called the master at the time, now called the primary. Walk through the primary, yeah. Whatever. Okay, cool. Mom and dad are gone. There's four bedrooms on the second floor. Get to the other bedrooms, and one of the doors is closed over. Not closed with like a latch on it, closed over. I open the door and there is someone there. And this kid is probably 15, 14, 15, 16, something like that. And his bed is on an angle where he can't see the door opening. So he's doing his thing, but he doesn't see the fact that I open the door and I walk in. He is working it, and I instantly open and instantly close the door. And but I don't close it all the way so it slams. I don't want to mess the guy up. I know what you're when you're in the middle of it, you need focus, right? You can't get thrown off guard. So I instantly close the door back, get the fuck out of the house, and I am gone and I'm out. And I'll
Oh,
be back. Yeah, so that was my very, very first time walking through and doing a preview at a house. I learned the lesson to always announce myself when I first walk into the house. Bang, 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 knock, knock, knock. Open the door. Hello, anybody home? And I do that now, and I'm with clients, and they're like, "This house is vacant. Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "Do you really want to know? Here's the story." So yeah,
yeah.
I felt weird. I don't know if he knew that I was in and out or didn't know or whatever it was, but yeah, it was very awkward feeling, and that was my introduction to showing houses in real estate. So there you go.
Well, that's the beauty of mortgages. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tell you, man, it made me feel a certain way, which was not a way that I enjoyed. So that's it for
I got
story.
nothing to add to that. I have nothing to add. That's.
Feel
I
like
think
it's,
we just end there. I
I,
have nothing.
hey, well, I don't know whether or not he finished, but as far as I'm concerned, we're finished. So
Oh,
on that note, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this with somebody you think might like story time. You can
oh.
download the Calendly links. You can download the buyer seller guides. You can book an appointment with the Calendly links. And until next time, keep it real.
I guess collective.